Somewhere in an office, in a spreadsheet you will never be allowed to open, there is a number attached to your life. Not your insurance premium, not your salary. The actual dollar figure that a pharmaceutical company has calculated your continued existence is worth to them, and by extension, the maximum they think they can charge to keep you alive. That number exists for a specific drug, for a specific disease, and if you ever need that drug, the price you are quoted will not be based on what it cost to make. A vial that costs a few dollars in raw materials can be priced at $10,000. The gap between those two numbers isn't greed in the cartoonish sense, it's a calculation. A cold, deliberate, surprisingly sophisticated calculation about exactly how much a human life can be made to pay. And here's the part that should genuinely unsettle you. That calculation is not illegal. It's not hidden in some criminal back room. And it's not even considered controversial inside the industry. It's the business model. It's taught, refined, and optimized. The only people not allowed to see the math are the ones whose lives are the variable being solved for. You'd assume a drug company sells drugs, chemicals in a bottle. That's the product, and the price should reflect the cost of making it plus a reasonable profit, the way it works for almost everything else you buy. But that's not what they're selling, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. A drug company doesn't sell you a chemical. It sells you the difference between having the disease and not having it. It sells you the gap between suffering and relief, between dying and living. And that gap has nothing to do with manufacturing cost, because when the alternative is death, the value of the thing that saves you isn't measured in what it took to produce. It's measured in how much you'd give up to survive. Think about it. Nobody haggles over the price of the only thing that keeps their child breathing. There is no comparison shopping when the competing option is a funeral. The pharmaceutical industry figured out long ago that it is not in the chemistry business at all. It's in the business of standing between you and the worst day of your life and charging admission to get past. That's the whole game. The pill is almost incidental. What you're actually paying for is your own desperation. And desperation, it turns out, is the single most pricing-proof product on Earth. To understand why drug prices behave the way they do, you have to understand the one rule that governs the price of nearly everything you own. In a normal market, the customer can walk away. That's the entire mechanism. If a coffee shop charges $12 for a latte, you leave and go next door. Your ability to say no is what forces the price down. Every functioning market on the planet runs on this single quiet threat. Charge too much and I will simply refuse to buy. Competition, choice, and restraint all flow from that one power, the power to walk out the door. That rule is why capitalism mostly works. The seller wants your money more than you want their product, so they compete for you, and the price lands somewhere fair. Now watch what happens when you take that power away. A person having a heart attack cannot walk away. A parent whose child needs insulin to survive the week cannot walk away. A cancer patient told that one specific drug will extend their life cannot shrug and go next door, because there is no next door. And even if there were, they cannot say no. The single assumption that makes every other market fair, the customer's ability to refuse, is precisely the thing a sick person does not have. Picture a market where the seller knows with total certainty that you cannot leave, cannot refuse, and will pay anything you ask because the alternative is death. That isn't a market, it's a hostage negotiation where only one side is armed. And the pharmaceutical pricing system isn't a broken version of a normal market. It's the flawless exploitation of the one situation where the normal market's only safety mechanism doesn't exist. Now let's go deeper, because each layer of how that number gets built is worse than the last. It starts with something called value-based pricing, and the name is a masterpiece of corporate language. It sounds like it means fair. What it actually means is this: the price is set based on the value of your life to you, not the cost of the drug to them. Analysts calculate how much a year of extended human life is economically worth, how much a health system will tolerate paying before it breaks, and how desperate the patient population is. Then they price right up against that ceiling. The manufacturing cost never enters the conversation. You are not being charged for a product. You are being charged for how badly you need to not die. The next layer down is monopoly by design. When a company develops a drug, it gets a patent, a government-granted period when no one else is legally allowed to make it. The stated purpose is to reward innovation, and there's a real logic to that. But it also means that for years, sometimes decades, there is deliberately no competitor, no next door, no alternative seller to walk to. The one force that could drag the price down is switched off by law, and the company is free to price against your desperation with zero restraint. Deeper still is the manipulation of that monopoly, and this is where it curdles. Companies have been caught making tiny, cosmetic changes to a drug right before its patent expires. A new coating, a slightly different dose, a combined pill, purely to file a fresh patent and extend the monopoly for years more. It's called evergreening. Nothing about the medicine got better. The only thing that improved was the company's ability to keep charging you the desperation price a little longer. And at the very bottom is the contradiction that makes the whole thing rotten. The drugs that are priced the most aggressively are, by definition, the ones you need the most to survive. The system charges the highest premium precisely at the moment of greatest human need. A drug for a mild inconvenience has to compete and stay cheap because you genuinely can walk away. A drug that is the only thing standing between a person and death can be priced into the stratosphere because they can't. The more your life depends on it, the more it costs. Your suffering isn't a side effect of the price. Your suffering is the pricing input. Zoom out, and the individual price tags resolve into something much larger and much colder. Because when a life-saving drug is priced beyond what a person or a health system can pay, a decision gets made, even if no one says it out loud. Somebody doesn't get the drug. Somebody rations their insulin. Somebody's treatment is denied as not cost-effective. Somebody dies on the wrong side of a number in a spreadsheet. The pricing calculation isn't an abstract exercise in a boardroom. It reaches all the way down to a hospital, a pharmacy counter, a kitchen table, and quietly sorts people into those who can afford to live and those who cannot. And here's the verdict, the thing that should change how you see every ad for a miracle cure. The pharmaceutical industry did not invent a way to make medicine. Humanity did that, often in publicly funded university labs, often with taxpayer money. What the industry perfected is something else entirely, a method for measuring exactly how much a human being will pay to keep breathing, and then charging precisely that. They turned the value of your life into a variable, solved for maximum extraction, and called it a market. The medicine in the bottle might genuinely be a miracle. The price on the bottle is a mirror, and what it reflects back is a number someone calculated your life was worth. You were just never supposed to see the number, because the moment you do, the obvious question becomes impossible to unask. Who gave a company the right to decide? And why did we let the answer be whoever was holding the cure? Which one is more engaging? Which one is better?